It's as if he, 31 male, wants me to be his perfect accessory rather than myself, 24 female. Okay, I'm usually quite laid back about most things, but this has me worried. I'm in a relationship with Jim. I'm 24 years old, and he's 31 years old. And there are other things he's always stated he admires about me, such as my will to achieve my goals, my honesty, and the fact that I never play games. I'm pretty comfortable with my body, and that's how I'm able to be like one of the boys when I'm hanging out with my friends or coworkers who are all machinists, welders, electricians, and so on. I'm an electrician, but recently, I've felt like he's expecting me to play more and more roles. We attended to one of his work events, and he received a lot of criticism afterwards. How my stories regarding trade occupations I've done were received, my attire, polo shirt and black slacks, was inappropriate for the occasion. Despite the fact that many of the men in attendance were dressed in polos and jeans. Then we went to his family's place for Thanksgiving, and he chastised me for the way I talked about things. We were there with friends and relatives, reminiscing about childhood Thanksgivings, and I replied, "Oh, my parents never did any of that." Which is the truth, and I tried not to get into why money was always going to booze, but I apparently still said enough to be. I think he was also because everyone was talking about learning to drive, passing or failing the driver's test, and I told a funny story about my father trying to teach me to drive. I wanted to get some highway practice, and I wanted to be brought somewhere relaxing. He drove me to what appears to be one of the country's most dangerous portions of highway in our old pickup truck, which had a fussy stick shift, and those old seatbelts that barely covered your hips. And once I'd finished, sweating bullets, he was like, "Okay, I'm done here. If you did that, you can do whatever you want. Go take your exam." And I went ahead and passed. That is a hilarious story. Especially given the way I tell it in person. I know it makes people laugh every time I tell it. They did it for Thanksgiving as well. But my partner afterwards told me that it wasn't humorous, that it's a story to tell to a group of trot-eyes, but not at a suburban family Thanksgiving. The final straw came when we were about to go out to supper. I rode my bike there because I had sold my car and had been riding everywhere. I'm fortunate to live close enough to work and pals to do so. I was dressed in shorts and a tank top because it was warm. Like, I'm not really hot, but I get hot easily, especially when I'm exercising. So I showed up, and he was like, "Are you going into the restaurant in that manner?" And I answer, "Yeah," and he replies that my tank top and shorts aren't appropriate for a dinner date because they're too revealing. And now I know for certain that he admired how I dress revealingly and be completely at ease with my body at the start of our relationship. Even going to more posh restaurants than that one. As a result, I was agitated and perplexed. And I shouted at him over all of this things that was piling up. To say the least, you seem to want me to take on more and more roles. You like how straightforward I am, and how I can hang out with the guys. But then you want me to pretend to be someone I'm not in front of your family. You want me when things are exciting for you, but why haven't I altered a thing, but I'm dressed for you now? I can't pretend to be classier and wealthier than I am with your family, more feminine than I am with your coworkers, and more modest than I am tonight. I'm tired of feeling like I have to dress up like your little Barbie doll. He became enraged, claiming that I obviously didn't realize there are varying standards of appropriateness for different venues. Which isn't true at all. I know to dress modestly, wear pay, and not swear in front of my superiors at work. And I know when I can relax and let loose around my friends. What is the next step? I'm stressed out and tired of it. Story number 2. My wife has been having an affair with a coworker for a year. I ditched her. She withdraws and wishes to remarry. My ex and I met in college and were madly in love for 4 years. After graduating in 2010, I married. I discovered her in a year-long affair with a coworker in 2013. I was devastated. She claimed they loved each other, were soulmates, didn't mean to hurt anyone, and so on. Only 3 months later, we divorced. I was devastated. Worst period of my life. I was in mourning for over a year. They got married, according to what I've heard. I got tired of being sad one day, so I let go of her totally in my heart, got off my buttocks, and actually moved on. I'm a programmer by trade, and I decided to work as a pre-sales solutions consultant for one of the world's largest software businesses. That job has been amazing. I've gone all around the world. Every continent, as well as all of the main cities. Life has been an incredible trip. I never dated seriously or remarried. I'm not against casual dating, and have dated gorgeous women from all around the world. After my marriage experience, I determined that wasn't my route, and have been content ever since. Sometimes lonely, especially around the holidays, but mostly content. I'd had enough of traveling for a time, so I moved roles and am now stationed in a big city in the United States. On a Saturday morning, I'm sitting in a diner eating breakfast and reading the news, Facebook, Reddit, and so on, when someone says, "My name?" Oh my. The voice sounded like one of my female coworkers, so I looked up to say hello, and my jaw fell. It's my ex-wife calling. I'm over 2,000 miles away from our former hometown, haven't seen her in almost 6 years, yet she's still there. I was taken aback. All I could say was hello. I hate to admit it, but she was stunning. She complimented me on my appearance. She inquired if I was busy and said she didn't want to bother me, but she'd love to talk to me. Sure, I said. We ended up conversing for more than 2 hours and continued for a couple of hours when we went for a walk in a nearby park. We were making small conversation about mutual acquaintances and my trip adventures from over the world. Except for the elephant in the room. She finally asks if I've remarried at any point. No, I answered, once was enough. That seemed to make her unhappy. We walked for almost a minute in silence before she began. I have to express that I'm so very sorry for what I did to you. You didn't earn it. It was incredible and has haunted me ever since. There was nothing wrong with you. I said you married someone else after falling in love with them. That was something I couldn't stop you from doing. I wanted you to be content. Then I said, "Are you content?" "Ha," she said, one of those joking chuckles. She informed me that the OM and she fought all the time, and that he ended up cheating on her and leaving her 2 years into their marriage. I apologized for what had occurred to you. I understand how much that can hurt. She stated that she was aware. When her heart was broken, all she could think about was how she had done the same thing to me, which pained her. She claimed she was depressed for about a year, participated in self-destructive conduct, and then went to counseling to figure out why she was so messed up. She claimed that was incredibly helpful, and she eventually grew up a few years ago, and now takes herself responsibility for her own behavior. She ended up coming to this city, because she has a favorite, and who lives there, and following her second divorce before the age of 30, she needed to make major changes in her life. The modifications were noticeable. She is unquestionably more mature. We said our goodbyes since I needed to get ready for an evening with friends. We exchanged contact information and decided to meet for coffee and discuss further. That's what we've been doing. We're both unattached. I suppose there's no harm in trying. She clearly wants more from me. She wants me to desire her again. She drops hints the size of the Pacific Ocean. I'm not a moron. I have to say, she still has that something special that makes my heart skip a beat. Something I can't put into words. Something I hadn't discovered in anyone else since she. I suppose it's the chemistry between us. To be honest, I'd like to be more than just buddies. I want to hug and kiss her. She wants it as well, but I've made no advances. What's holding me back? Fear. I'm terrified I'll get injured again. If she had been a casual girlfriend who dumped me, I would have laughed it off and gone on. She wasn't, however. She was my wife and my life's love. I used to fantasize about her reappearing in my life. Well, here it is, and I'm afraid I won't be able to offer her that much of myself again. I'm much more guarded of my heart these days. We've both grown a lot, and the past feels a century ago. I'd be head over heels in love with her if she wasn't who she is. I'm torn between pursuing love with her again and letting the past go. It may sound cliché, but it had to be her. It had to be her out of everyone I could have met here. Update. I've had numerous requests for an update. I had one but was scared to submit it since I'd get a lot of flack on this sub. We remarried over the holidays and are now expecting our first child. She has matured significantly as a person. I've done the same. We're no longer children. We're in an adult relationship now, and it's a lot better than it was before. Add in the chemistry we've always had, and it's fantastic. I couldn't be more thrilled. I do want to address the allegations that she pursued me. She didn't do it. She had relocated to our current location before I had. She had truly moved on, had gone to treatment, and had matured tremendously as a person. I happened to be in that diner at the time. We believe it was fate or some other intervening factor. We're neither religious, but the astronomical odds of us meeting into each other, both single, in a city neither of us had ever lived in, are difficult to dismiss. The cosmos clearly had a plan for us. I wish you all the best. My only piece of advice is to not close your heart. You never know who will enter your life.